The night hip-hop stopped scrolling. Future's album Celebration had barely begun when NBA YoungBoy turned the entire rollout into a public confrontation nobody saw coming. What should have been one of the biggest nights of Future's career suddenly became the opening scene of a much darker story. While fans were streaming The Real Me and debating whether Future had delivered another classic, YoungBoy appeared online with a completely different energy. His words were emotional, direct, and impossible to ignore. Within minutes, screenshots were spreading across social media, fan pages were choosing sides, and one question started dominating the conversation. Why did YoungBoy decide to target Future on this exact night? At first, it looked like another spontaneous rap argument, but then the story changed. YoungBoy appeared to soften his position. An apology surfaced, suggesting that the anger might have passed as quickly as it arrived. For a moment, it seemed like the situation could end without becoming something bigger. Then the apology disappeared. That deletion changed everything. To many fans, removing the message felt more serious than posting the original attack. It suggested that YoungBoy had reconsidered the peace offering and decided he was not ready to let the issue go. The tension immediately returned, only now the entire culture was watching. Future had remained silent through the early shots. But silence from an artist like Future is rarely meaningless. He has built a career around saying less publicly and letting music, timing, and calculated moves speak for him. When his response finally surfaced, it did not feel emotional. It felt controlled, cold, and deliberate. The feud was no longer just about one post. It became a collision between two powerful rap identities. Future, the established Atlanta legend whose influence shaped an era, and YoungBoy, the rebellious outsider who built a massive empire without needing traditional industry approval. Where are you watching from right now? Comment your city or country below. If you believe this situation is deeper than a simple social media argument, press 1. If you think the internet is making it bigger than it really is, press 2. Subscribe to the channel, because the history behind this conflict changes the entire story. Future's silence was never weakness. To understand why Future's reaction carried so much weight, you first have to understand what his silence represents. Future is not an artist who responds to every challenge thrown in his direction. Over the years, he has mastered the art of distance. While other rappers argue online, explain themselves during interviews, or react immediately to criticism, Future often allows speculation to grow without feeding it. That approach has become part of his power. Born Navadius Wilburn in Atlanta, Future rose through the city's legendary musical network and eventually became one of the defining voices of modern trap. His melodies, emotional delivery, street narratives, and detached personality influenced an entire generation. Artists who came after him borrowed pieces of his sound, his vocal style, and even his approach to vulnerability. But influence alone does not explain his position. Future also developed extraordinary commercial longevity. He survived multiple changes in hip-hop, adapted without abandoning his identity, and remained relevant while many artists from his generation disappeared from the center of the culture. That is why YoungBoy dismissing him was not viewed as ordinary competition. Future represented history, status, and approval from the same music establishment. YoungBoy has often criticized. In YoungBoy's eyes, Future may have symbolized a system that celebrates certain artists while treating him like an outsider, no matter how impressive his numbers become. Future's refusal to react to YoungBoy's earlier challenge may have intensified that frustration. YoungBoy had publicly placed himself above Future, yet Future did not defend his catalog, argue with fans, or acknowledge the comparison. To Future's supporters, that silence showed confidence. To YoungBoy, it may have felt like disrespect. Ignoring a challenge can sometimes communicate more than accepting it. It can suggest that the person issuing the challenge is not even important enough to receive an answer. Months later, on the night Future released his new album, the frustration that had been building quietly finally exploded into public view. YoungBoy's war with the industry. NBA YoungBoy's anger cannot be understood through Future alone. His real conflict has always been bigger than one artist. YoungBoy built his career through a path that looked almost impossible from the outside. He became famous while dealing with personal instability, legal pressure, public criticism, and limited support from the traditional industry system. Radio did not build his fan base. Award shows did not create his momentum. Major celebrity relationships were not responsible for his reach. His connection with listeners came directly through the internet. YoungBoy released music at a relentless pace, allowing fans to follow his emotional life almost in real time. His audience did not simply listen to finished albums. They watched his moods, relationships, frustrations, victories, and setbacks unfold through songs, videos, live streams, and posts. That closeness created one of the most loyal fan bases in modern music. It also gave YoungBoy enormous leverage. Even without constant mainstream promotion, his music continued generating millions of views. His supporters treated every release like a major event, while critics struggled to explain why an artist operating outside normal industry rules remained so dominant. But success did not remove YoungBoy's frustration. If anything, it may have increased it. From his perspective, the numbers proved that he belonged among the biggest rappers alive. Yet he often appeared to believe that established artists, executives, media platforms, and cultural gatekeepers refused to give him the same respect they gave others. Future's album rollout may have activated that resentment. The industry rallied around Future's announcement. Major pages celebrated the project. Artists praised him. Fans treated the release like a historic moment. YoungBoy could look at his own catalog, certifications, views, and influence, and ask why similar recognition never seemed to arrive without debate. That does not prove Future personally disrespected him. But public feuds are not always created by one direct action. Sometimes, one person becomes the symbol of a much larger frustration. And on album night, Future became that symbol. The challenge that started the fire. The first visible crack appeared months before the album night explosion. YoungBoy issued an aggressive catalog challenge to the rap world. 15 songs each, with the losers supposedly walking away from rap. The statement was pure YoungBoy bold, unfiltered, and designed to force the culture into a conversation. Fans immediately began naming possible opponents. Lil Wayne entered the discussion. Gucci Mane was mentioned. Kodak Black's name appeared. But one artist repeatedly rose above the others: Future. The argument was simple. If the battle focused on solo records, cultural impact, emotional range, street anthems, and catalog depth, Future might be one of the few rappers capable of standing across from YoungBoy without being overwhelmed. The comparison gained momentum. Instead of welcoming it, YoungBoy quickly dismissed Future. That moment mattered because it revealed something deeper than competitive confidence. YoungBoy was not simply saying he believed he could win. He appeared to reject the idea that Future belonged on his level at all. Future did not respond. There was no angry tweet, no video, no interview quote, and no surprise record. He continued moving as though the challenge had never happened. That silence created two completely different interpretations. Future's fans saw a veteran refusing to participate in online chaos. YoungBoy's fans saw an established artist avoiding a serious catalog conversation. YoungBoy himself may have viewed it as proof that Future and the wider industry were unwilling to acknowledge his power. The challenge disappeared from the headlines, but the tension never truly disappeared. It remained beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to return. That moment arrived when Future began promoting The Real Me as one of the most important projects of his career. The title, the confidence, and the industry excitement created the perfect environment for YoungBoy's unresolved feelings to return. What looked spontaneous on social media was actually the result of months of competitive tension, perceived disrespect, and two completely different ideas about what power in hip-hop should look like. The outburst, the apology, and the deletion. When YoungBoy began posting on the night surrounding Future's release, the tone was immediately intense. He sounded like someone who had been carrying frustration for far longer than the public realized. His language suggested that the issue was not merely competition over music. It felt personal, even though fans still lacked clear evidence of a specific private event between the two rappers. Social media reacted at full speed. Screenshots spread faster than context. Some pages described the situation as a direct declaration of war. Others argued that YoungBoy was reacting emotionally and would eventually calm down. For a brief period, that second interpretation appeared correct. An apologetic message surfaced. It seemed to acknowledge that the situation had gone too far and suggested YoungBoy wanted to step away before the argument became permanent. Fans began praising the possibility of maturity. Commentators said the conflict might end before either artist turned it into music. Then the apology was deleted. The removal became the defining moment of the night. An apology can close a story. A deleted apology reopens it with even more questions. Did YoungBoy regret showing vulnerability? Did people around him influence the reversal? Did he believe Future's camp had responded privately? Or did the emotion simply return after the temporary calm passed? No verified answer immediately settled those questions. But the public interpretation was brutal. YoungBoy had extended peace, then pulled it back. Future still did not rush to explain himself. That contrast made the situation even more dramatic. YoungBoy's emotions were visible minute by minute, while Future appeared almost completely unreadable. One artist was exposing the conflict in real time. The other was controlling the mystery by refusing to provide details. That difference shaped the entire feud. The more YoungBoy posted, the more Future's silence seemed strategic. And when Future finally offered a response, fans were already prepared to interpret every word as carefully chosen. The argument had moved beyond anger. It had become a battle over image, discipline, and who could control the public narrative. Why Future's response hit different? Future's response did not need to be long to change the energy. Instead of matching YoungBoy's emotional intensity, Future appeared to communicate that he was finished entertaining disrespect. His tone suggested that he had no interest in repeatedly arguing with artists online. That approach instantly divided the audience. Some fans believed Future had delivered the perfect answer. By remaining calm, he avoided giving YoungBoy control over his album rollout. He also protected the image he had built over decades. Distant, confident, and difficult to provoke. Others believed the response underestimated YoungBoy. They argued that dismissing him instead of addressing the actual issue could make the conflict worse. YoungBoy has never built his identity around industry approval, and traditional status does not intimidate a fan base that already sees him as one of rap's most important figures. The real power of Future's reaction came from timing. He waited until the original posts, the apology, and the deletion had already generated chaos. By the time he responded, the public had watched YoungBoy move through several emotional stages. Future entered only after the confusion had peaked. That allowed him to look composed while YoungBoy looked reactive. Whether intentional or not, it was an effective narrative move. In celebrity conflicts, the public often pays less attention to who is technically correct and more attention to who appears in control. Future's restraint gave him that advantage. But control does not automatically equal victory. YoungBoy's fans connected with his rawness precisely because he does not hide his emotions. To them, Future's distance could look calculated or even dismissive. YoungBoy, meanwhile, appeared willing to say what many younger artists may privately feel about legacy acts and the industry hierarchy surrounding them. The feud therefore became larger than Future versus YoungBoy. It represented two generations and two methods of building influence. Future's power came through longevity, alliances, and cultural authority. YoungBoy's power came through independence, volume, and direct loyalty from millions of listeners. Neither side could easily erase the other. Two empires built on different rules. Future and NBA YoungBoy may both dominate rap, but they arrived at power through completely different systems. Future became a central figure in Atlanta's music dynasty. His collaborations connected him to producers, superstars, labels, and major cultural moments. He developed relationships that allowed his music to move through every level of the industry, from street mixtapes to global stages. YoungBoy built a parallel universe. His strongest platform was not radio or traditional press. It was YouTube, where fans could access his music immediately and repeatedly. He released projects faster than most marketing teams could process them. While the industry often depended on long promotional cycles, YoungBoy trained his audience to expect constant movement. That difference is essential to the conflict. Future represents institutional influence without losing street credibility. YoungBoy represents digital independence without needing institutional permission. Future's position says that longevity, collaboration, and cultural respect create a legacy. YoungBoy's position says that numbers, loyalty, and direct connection with listeners are enough. Both arguments contain truth. Future's influence can be heard throughout modern rap. His sound changed how artists approach melody, pain, relationships, and street music. Even rappers who never openly credit him operate in a landscape he helped create. YoungBoy's influence is equally visible in a younger generation. His emotional honesty, aggressive release schedule, stripped-down videos, and refusal to behave like a polished industry celebrity created a new blueprint. That is why a simple disagreement quickly became symbolic. Fans were not only defending their favorite rapper, they were defending two different definitions of greatness. Future's supporters pointed to classics, longevity, and global influence. YoungBoy's supporters pointed to certifications, streaming dominance, and a fan base that remained loyal through every controversy. Once the debate reached that level, peace became harder. Even if the artists stopped speaking, their audiences could continue the conflict for them. And fan-driven pressure can sometimes push artists toward responses they might not have made privately. The danger of letting the internet write the story. The most unpredictable force in this feud was not Future or YoungBoy. It was the internet. Within hours, edited clips, incomplete screenshots, old interviews, and unverified claims flooded social media. Every side searched for evidence supporting the conclusion it had already chosen. Future fans presented him as a legend being attacked during an important album release. YoungBoy fans described him as an artist finally confronting a system that had underestimated him for years. The truth was more complicated. There was confirmed public tension, but many of the most dramatic explanations remained speculation. No reliable evidence proved that Future had secretly targeted YoungBoy before the posts. No verified source fully explained why the anger reached its breaking point on that specific night. Still, online commentary filled every missing detail. This is how modern rap conflicts grow. Uncertainty creates space, and fan pages fill that space with narratives designed to generate engagement. A vague post becomes a direct threat. A deleted message becomes proof of secret pressure. A delayed response becomes evidence of a private strategy. Once millions of people repeat the same theory, it begins to feel factual even when the original evidence remains weak. Both artists faced a dangerous situation. If Future ignored the feud, people could call him afraid or disrespectful. If he responded strongly, he could give the conflict more energy. If YoungBoy apologized, some fans might call him weak. If he continued attacking, others could accuse him of sabotaging his own success. The internet created a trap where every action could be interpreted negatively. This is why public discipline matters. Rap history contains many examples of arguments that began with music but became harder to control after audiences demanded escalation. Fans enjoy drama because they do not carry the personal consequences. Artists do. By this stage, the most important question was no longer who had the better catalog. It was whether either side could stop the conflict before outside pressure transformed competitive tension into something neither man originally intended. The moment before the next move. By the time the first wave of drama settled, the conflict remained unresolved. Future had protected his position by refusing to become emotionally consumed by the argument. YoungBoy had made his frustration impossible to ignore, exposing a deeper battle over respect, recognition, and the way hip-hop chooses its most celebrated figures. Neither artist had been defeated. Future still had the legacy, the industry relationships, the catalog, and the ability to control attention through carefully timed music. The controversy did not erase his album moment. In some ways, it made the release even more visible. YoungBoy still had one of the most committed audiences in music. His fans did not abandon him because of the outburst. Many interpreted the situation as another example of their favorite artist speaking honestly in an industry filled with calculated personalities. But the deleted apology left a permanent question hanging over the story. It showed that at least for one moment, YoungBoy may have understood the consequences of continuing. The decision to remove it suggested that pride, anger, public pressure, or unresolved resentment had become stronger than the desire to close the situation. Future's response also created uncertainty. His words sounded final, but rap disputes rarely end simply because one person declares them over. YoungBoy could answer with another post, a live stream, or new music. Future could include a subtle line on a future record and restart the entire debate without mentioning a name. That possibility kept fans watching. The smartest outcome would be for both artists to let their catalog speak. A musical competition could energize the culture without creating unnecessary personal hostility. Future and YoungBoy have already achieved what most artists never will. Neither needs a destructive conflict to prove his importance. Yet hip-hop is built partly on pride, and pride rarely disappears when millions of people are watching. The next move could determine whether this becomes a temporary album week controversy or one of the defining rap rivalries of the era. For now, Future's silence remains calculated. YoungBoy's frustration remains unresolved, and the entire culture is waiting to see which man decides that the story is not finished. The real winner is the one who controls the ending. The most important lesson from the tension between Future and NBA YoungBoy is not about deciding which artist is more powerful. It is about understanding how quickly pride, pressure, and public attention can transform a competitive moment into something far more damaging. Strategically, Future's strongest move was discipline. He did not allow every post to control his behavior. By limiting his response, he protected his album rollout, preserved his image, and forced the public to focus on what YoungBoy said instead of watching him become equally emotional. In an era where artists often react before thinking, patience can become a form of power. YoungBoy's greatest strength was honesty. His audience believes him because he rarely hides what he feels. That authenticity helped him build a career outside the traditional industry system. But the same honesty can become dangerous when emotion moves faster than strategy. Posting an apology and then deleting it created uncertainty, allowing millions of strangers to interpret his intentions for him. The lesson for both artists is clear. Never let the internet make permanent decisions during temporary emotions. Competition is natural in hip-hop. It pushes artists to improve, challenges legends to defend their positions, and gives fans unforgettable moments. But competition becomes destructive when personal resentment replaces music. Future and YoungBoy do not need hostility to prove their greatness. Their catalogs, influence, achievements, and loyal supporters have already done that. The wiser path would be to transform tension into creativity. Let the records compete. Let listeners debate the better catalog. Let both artists answer through sharper writing, stronger albums, and unforgettable performances, instead of endless posts that could eventually create consequences nobody intended. There is also a human lesson behind this story. Public figures experience pressure, anger, insecurity, and disappointment just like everyone else. Fame does not remove those emotions. It only places them in front of millions of people. That is why stepping back, speaking privately, and choosing peace should never be mistaken for weakness. Sometimes the strongest person is the one who refuses to turn a disagreement into permanent damage. Future has nothing left to prove about his legacy. YoungBoy has nothing left to prove about the loyalty of his audience. The culture would gain more from seeing two powerful artists create history than watching them destroy opportunities through pride. Now the final decision belongs to them. They can allow fans, algorithms, and gossip pages to control the next chapter, or they can choose maturity and write a better ending themselves. Do you believe Future handled this situation correctly? Press 1 if you think his silence showed strength. Press 2 if you believe YoungBoy had a valid reason to speak out. Share your opinion in the comments, but keep the conversation respectful. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with another hip-hop fan so they can join the debate.